Okay, so I'm going to talk through how to do dry plates, and that means we're going to coat a glass plate with a subbing layer of gelatin, and then we're going to add liquid light to it, and then we're going to print on it. First thing is the glass itself. So this is just ordinary float glass supplied by a glass manufacturer. We've got 8 sheets here. And the first thing we want to do is make sure that these are really clean. So the first thing I'm going to do is wash these. So you want to wear some gloves when you're doing this, and these little throwaway ones are pretty good. You could use rubber gloves as well. But as you wash them, obviously you don't want to get your fingers on them as you've got them clean, otherwise that's going to leave some oil on the glass. Okay, let's prepare the subbing layer for the glass plates. What you're going to need is some photo gelatin, which is this stuff. So we get that focused on there. Photo gelatin. We're going to need some chrome alum. So we can focus on that guy. We are going to need some distilled water. We're going to need some measuring beakers, we're going to need some scales, and we're even going to need some photo flow. We're going to need a kettle, we're going to need a thermometer, we're going to need to heat up some of this chemistry ready to coat the plates. Okay, the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to put 15 ml of distilled water in this little measuring cup here. Okay, so that's spot on 50 ml. And we're going to need to heat this up to about 50 degrees. So I'm going to put a little bit of warm water in here. Not too much. A bit of cold. More water in here and see how hot this is. Climbing up. I think a little tiny bit more hot water. Okay, so in the meantime I'm just going to measure out some chrome alum. And that's what that looks like. I want about 1/4 of a teaspoon of chrome alum. That's about 1 gram. Okay, give this a stir. Okay, we're going to add some distilled water to a cup here. We want just around about 230, 40 mils of water, that's fine. And we're going to add some gelatin to that. Okay, I'm going to measure 3.5 grams of gelatin. Perfect. I'm going to pop this into the distilled water, like so. And we just need to leave that now to swell up, and we'll mix that up. We'll heat that up and mix it up. So that gelatin starts to melt and dissolve into the water. Now if we look, we can see that is nice and clear. That's really how you want your gelatin to look. That's now completely dissolved. Okay, next stage is to add some of the chrome alum. We need 5 ml of chrome alum. So it's just a tiny bit too much. Perfect. Pour that in there. And we'll leave that a stir. Right, we're going to coat some of the plates now with the gelatin. I have 12 plates here, but probably not going to be able to do all of those with the amount of gelatin that we've mixed up. We'll see. But we'll do one at a time. Well, we need to do this while the gelatin is still quite warm, so that we can dribble it on and tilt it on and cover the plate with it. It's messy. You'll see that I've got gloves on. I've got a tray here as well, so some of that gelatin is going to run into the tray. We may be able to recycle some of that as well, provided it doesn't get too cool. So let's get going and show you how it's done. Okay, so we'll get one of the plates, just have a quick look at the plate, make sure it's nice and clean. And that seems nice and clean. We're just going to make sure that we've got the water off there. Okay, that's good. We've added photo flow to this, which is going to help it cover. Otherwise it could tend to maybe pool a little bit and stick a little bit. So pour a little bit of gelatin on, just like water, and then just gently tip this. Excess just drain off. So quite a bit of subbing left over, but I was reusing some of the subbing liquid that had come off into the tray and refilling out of the tray. You only really need a thin coat of the subbing layer. Okay, firstly, sorry about all the noise here in the dark room. We've got the extractor fan on. That's going to stay on all the time. I was listening back to some of the recordings and I could hear that, but nothing I can do. Okay, so today we're going to be doing the putting the emulsion on the plates. So we have some dried plates here that I did the subbing on yesterday. They've dried overnight, so they're ready to put the emulsion on. Setup that I've got here at the moment. So we've got some bits and pieces we're going to be using. We've got some little glass measuring beakers I'm going to use to pour the emulsion on when it's in a liquid form. We've got some liquid emulsion here. This is LE30, which has been in the fridge. We've also got some Black Magic REM2. I'm going to use up. I've got some of that left over, so I'm going to use that up. In the sink here, I've got a large tray. I'm going to do the pouring and tilting over the tray and try and catch as much of the emulsion as I can. It's quite a messy job. I've got a jug here which is going to have the warm water in it, and that's going to keep the liquid emulsion, the emulsion liquid. We need it to be about 50 degrees for that. I've got a small tray here. I'm going to put warm water in here, and I'm going to I'm going to sight the little glass beaker in there, keep that warm as well, keep that emulsion warm, because I'm going to be tipping back into that little beaker. Every time I do I'm going to use about 30, probably about 30 ml of liquid emulsion to a plate, and I'm going to use 5 ml of photo flow in there as well, mixed together. That's going to help that spread across the plate. What else do I need to tell you? I think that's pretty much it. We're going to get going on it. We're going to get some hot water into the jug, get the emulsion nice and liquid. It's obviously going to happen in red light, so the images we'll get from the camera aren't going to be so good, but hopefully we'll see enough to see some of the emulsion going onto the plate. Okay, so I just wanted to show you what I've got set up here for the drying of the plates. Table here, we've got some battens on the table, just some bits of wood, and I'm going to place the plates on there so that I can kind of get underneath them and pick them up after they've been coated. Makes life a little bit easier. Any pieces of wood will do, as long as it's nice and flat, just to get underneath them. Also helps me just clean off the underside of the plate once it's coated. And I mentioned this yesterday, but when you're doing this job, have a lot of this stuff. Paper towel, really, really useful. This is a messy, messy job. That's shooting up past 50. It's okay to be a bit warmer than 50, but we don't want to be massively hot. That is a bit. Okay. We can pop the emulsion in there now, and that's now going to go to liquid. Now, obviously, this all has to now happen under red light, so don't open the liquid until the red lights are on. Okay, so a quick word about what you might need to think about for test strips. So you can use just some old, some old photographic paper, coat the back of it with liquid light as well, so that you can do some effective test strips. So maybe a big old 10-8 like this, coat the back of that, and then we can cut that down into some strips. Well, I've only coated one side of the plates yesterday, and in order to make sure that I know which side has that subbing layer on it, I'm going to add a little tiny marker to the back of the plates with camera tape. I'm also going to use a little tiny bit of camera tape on my so this is my photo flow bottle, and in the red light it's quite difficult to see where I'm up to 5 ml. So I'm going to put a little bit of tape around it just to see where we're up to on the 5 ml. I'll do that now. So we don't need very much, and just going to pop that down up there. It's going to show me my 5 ml, and I'll get on with a little marker on the back of the plates. When you pick the plate up, it should feel a little tiny bit sort of sticky as you pick it up. Maybe there's some of the subbing there has run down and it's now sort of pulled a little bit by the bottom of the plate, and it's just giving it a little stick, and that's a good sign. Okay, well done the little cannon for working in the almost pitch black under the safe lights. I can now open the liquid light. Yeah, it's pretty liquid now. It's been in there a few minutes, which is good. So we get our measuring. Ready to pour some liquid light in there. This gives us a good idea about how liquid it is. That's good. Pop that back in the warm bath just to keep that slightly warm. Do that up nice and tight back in the wall. Still pretty good. Okay, a little bit of photo flow. We're going to pop that in. That's going to help that go nice and smooth. And then we're going to just stir that in. We'll do that nice and gently. And once we're going now, we're going to have exposed, we're going to have plates that are going to have liquid light on them that we need to now keep in the red light. So this is now quite a long process, and we need somewhere for those plates to dry where they're going to stay in the red light essentially. So if you're using a darkroom that's a community darkroom or communal darkroom and you've got plates out all over the place, that's not going to be very good. You can store them after they've had the liquid light on them, but they need some time to dry. Otherwise you're going to find that they're going to be problems. So you need to have this space available for quite a while to do this process with, somewhere that you can keep them in the safe light at least overnight. Okay, so I'm going to come and turn the screen off just to make sure we're not putting any light onto as we coat the plates. make sure we've got no fiddly, then we can take it away and put them on the dryer. Okay, so it's Ilford PQ print developer. £200ml of that, and we're going to make that up to 2 litres. Perfect. And the fixer is the same, 200 200ml fixer. Perfect. So 2 litre fix. It's a high pump fixer, high pump, and high pump fixer, and I can. The only difference here is I'm going to be adding some Tetanol hardener into the fixer. So it says 25 photographic films and papers, 25ml of Tetanol fixer. So let's add that in now. Okay, that's perfect. And add that to the fixer. Okay, so here's the printer setup. Fairly straightforward, I think. Timer easily set to 10.8, or it's slightly larger than 10.8 because I'm going to just drop the plate onto this. When I focus, I'm going to be using a roughly the same size. Obviously, you can't put the plate down. I'm going to be using a magazine and a piece of paper, the back of a photograph, to do my focusing there. The enlarger is the lens here is wide open to focus, and then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 clicks, which I think is going to be about f11. Don't quote me on that one. And the 5.4 neg is in the holder ready to go. So we're ready to start printing. First thing I'll do would be a test strip, and I don't need I can focus it, but I can take that away and put the paper on the board. I don't need that to be perfectly in focus, I just need to see what's happening with the exposure there. Okay, having a little look at the test strip, I can see that we've got 5, 10, 15, 20, so sort of between 15 and 20 seconds I think is going to be the ideal exposure for this one. Okay, got first plate, and I can tell from the little piece of camera tape that I can see what the emulsion side is anyway, but it's a nice reassurance to have that. Sitting in. I've set this for 17 seconds. So here we go. Agitate this gently. Should be good with the fact that we've got hardener in the let's wash it off. Just water. Into the fix. Now you don't want to rush the fix on this. So I will leave these plates in the fix for maybe 15 minutes. Partly that's because of the hardener. Slows the fixing down. Okay, so here it is. Yeah, looking really beautiful. That's a great moment when that comes out. Obviously we've got a bit of gum up at the top here, but that's okay, we can clean that off afterwards. We can see a bit of stuff on the back here as well. We're going to clean that with bleach, just to clean off all the remnants of the dribbles that are on the back, but that's exactly as we want it to be. Looking really good. Lovely sort of ethereal quality to it, a real artifact.